What's up, guys? So in this video, we're going to be going over how I built for an old client a contract AI agent where essentially it organizes and scans all of a company's contracts automatically. It lets you ask questions about its contracts in normal English, so like which clients have upgrade clauses, or what percentage of our contracts have upgrade clauses, or does the contract with Meridian have this specific confidentiality clause? I don't know. But it allows you to ask questions that are specific to contracts. You can specify multiple contracts, or you can ask about all your aggregate of contracts. It can literally just answer anything about this set of contracts, essentially, right? And it quickly finds exact parts of the contracts to answer the questions, right? Because obviously, let's say if you have a specific confidentiality clause in your agreements, that isn't going to be available to ChatGPT, right? That is in your contracts and in your contracts only. You have to feed that exact part of the contract into ChatGPT for it to understand it when you prompt it with a question, right? Also, it will summarize the complicated legal language into like clear, easy to read answers. And most importantly, it saves hundreds of hours by replacing manual contract review with instant AI search. Because before I came to this enterprise company, they were literally like their team was just weaving through every single contract like online or like with their PDF files and just doing this all manually, which sounds awful in my opinion. And to give you a quick demonstration of how it looks and how it works so I just built a simple Streamlit app. Asked it which clients have a confidentiality clause. The agent responds back and understands an aggregate question, so that means it's going to have to go through all the contracts in order to answer it. The clients with the confidentiality clauses are Meridian Financial Group, Bass Pro Shops, Acme Healthcare Systems, and by the way, these are fake. Like these are real companies, but these are fake contracts I made for them. And Quantum Dynamics, and out of the five, and it gives you supporting analysis as well. So out of the 5 contracts analyzed, 4 either have directly presence of a confidentiality clause, blah 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 blah. But nonetheless, it allows you to ask any question about our contracts or about these contracts, and it does it instantaneously, which is freaking awesome, right? In terms of the actual implementation, so this is an AI agent with a static workflow. So honestly, I don't really view it as an AI agent. I view AI agents for like dynamic, like it think for itself, does the steps itself. We predefine them that way. We have more robust and more predictable answers because this is for a legal team, and we want to make sure that this is like very predictable and the AI doesn't hallucinate and things like that. So a user queries a question. So let's say, is there a difference between the confidentiality clauses we have between Meridian and Acme, right? What's going to happen next is going to identify which contracts are mentioned in the query, if any. Like, are we asking it what percentage of our contracts have a confidentiality clause, or does the Meridian contract have a confidentiality clause? So that's just one contract, or does Meridian, Acme, and Bass Pro Shops, do they have confidentiality clauses? So those are 3 contracts that are mentioned, right? So it's going to identify which question type it is. So is it a singular contract, multiple specific contracts, or all of our contracts? And depending on which one, it's going to define the workflow it goes through. Okay, so let's say we mentioned only a singular contract. Let's just focus on that for now. We're going to retrieve the relevant text from that specific contract. So using embeddings. So if you don't know what embeddings are, but essentially we're just using some machine learning tools to find the relevant texts that are related to the question. So our question is, does the Meridian contract have a confidentiality clause? We're going to we're going to use machine learning and NLP to search through this contract, find text related to confidentiality clauses, to put that into the LLM model. And for example, this is what ends up the prompt ends up looking like. So answer the following query based only on the provided text, focus on the specific contract mentioned in the query. The question is in the Meridian Financial Group contract, what is the penalty for late invoice payments? Here is the context using machine learning methods we're able to pull for the prompt, right? This is this step here, right? This context, we retrieve these relevant texts, right? And then, so we provide the actual text so ChatGPT or Claude, whatever you use, can actually answer the question correctly specific to the contract, right? And we do that, we prompt it, and we check if the answer is from the provided text, just because an AI can always hallucinate. That's like one thing I think people always forget, is that an AI can hallucinate and make up random stuff all the time. Like, there's no 100% guarantee it always works. So we want to have a step where we check, like, okay, here's the context we provided, right? Here's the answer we provided. Is this answer actually from the context, right? Because we don't want to feed people the wrong information, especially when we're dealing with severity of our contracts and things like that, which could have horrible ramifications if we're wrong, okay? So yeah, we have that step, and if it's good, we return the answer. So simple as that. Similarly enough, if it's multiple specific contracts provided, so let's just say, what does Bass Pro Shops, Meridian, and Acme have multiple or have tech upgrades in their contracts, right? We're going to retrieve the relevant text, same thing as before, but we're going to do it for every single of the contracts specified, okay? And we're going to do the same exact step, provide every list of context into the LLM to answer it, and then do the same exact steps. Where it gets really cool, though, is if we have an all contracts question. So what percentage of contracts have a technology upgrade clause, or which contract or which client are we paying the most, right? So it's gonna again retrieve the relevant text, but from each contract. So what we're gonna do is through a code, we're just gonna go through each contract one by one, retrieve the relevant text based off the question, one by one, and we're gonna use an LLM to call to answer the query for each individual contract. So let's say we ask which contracts include a tech upgrade clause and what are their obligations, right? So let's say Globex Corporation, we're gonna go through, does it have a tech upgrade clause? And we're gonna save all this as a JSON file. We're gonna do this for every single company, right? Tech upgrade clause is true, upgrade frequency, blah, 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 and we're just gonna store everything in a JSON file. That way, when we can make a second LLM call feeding all those JSON files into that second LLM call, and we give it the context needed to answer the right question, right? So now we ask it, you are an AI assistant tasked with synthesizing information from multiple contract analyses based on only the provided list of extracted facts. Answer this question, blah, blah, blah. So here's the query, here's the extracted facts, and we provide the list of JSON objects, right? And now we're able to give it the right answer of like what percentage of contracts have a tech upgrade clause, or who's our highest paying client, things like that, right? But yeah, nonetheless though, this is the overall workflow, and it's going to be dependent on which type of question it is. And yeah, just to give some other examples of how this contract AI agent works is, for example, I asked it about a specific contract here, right? Does the Meridian contract have a tech upgrade clause? Yes, the Meridian contract includes a technology upgrade clause. Provider will implement major technology upgrades at least once annually. And it knows, one, to specify that, like, hey, it needs to find the actual contract for the Meridian financial company, which is the cool part. Two, it's able to pull the relevant text to answer the question, and also provides the exact page so that we can go reference it in the actual PDF of like where the confidential or where the tech upgrade clause is. And the whole goal of this was to build an end-to-end agent that can answer questions about our contracts in a structured way while providing context on how we answered it while providing proof. Because again, we're answering questions about contracts especially with a legal team. We want to make sure everything is correct, right? So let's try again with a different type of question. Now let's try this with a different type of question where we specify multiple contracts here, right? So explain to me the differences between the confidentiality clauses between Globex, Meridian, and Bass Pro Shops. Again, it catches that's a multi-contract question, right? So it's not just one, it's not all of them. And it answers the question. The confidentiality clause is different from the three contracts in terms of duration, this, and that, with Bass Pro Shops doing this, whatever. And it finds that there is no provided information on a confidentiality clause for Globex. So it knows that there is no confidentiality clause in the Globex contract, which there isn't, right? And it provides the sources for both of them once again. Yeah, those are just some examples of just how this AI contract agent works. Some ways to improve this, and we actually implemented this for said client. It's more so I just didn't show this in this demo just because it'd be a lot of work. I'm honestly just too lazy. But I would add some segmentation queries, so allow for questions regarding segmentation so let's say amongst our e-commerce clients, which of them do we have a rev share deal with? Because like with our customers, say like this is the CSV file we refer from. Again, this is just a small demo with like 5 contracts. We could have the customer type, so like business services, e-commerce, finance, healthcare, like amongst our healthcare clients, which have a tech upgrade clause, for example. Hallucination guardrails actually included that in this already, so that's just to make sure the answers we're providing are actually coming from the context we provide the LLMs, right? So that's our contracts, right? Next is parallelizing the aggregate processing. So when we do all contracts, again, we only did it with 5 contracts just for this demo, just to make it easier. But let's say we're dealing with 30,000 contracts, right? You can't just have it go through one by one. That would take forever. So we want to parallelize that process, make things run faster, just get answers faster to the user. And the last thing is session context. So allowing for like an actual two-way conversation between you and the AI about the contracts, just like how you would with ChatGPT when you use ChatGPT. But yeah, guys, that's the end of this video. I just thought it'd be a cool video just going over this contract AI agent I built.